For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of USC's sixth practice of spring. And I thought it was a good day for football. Yesterday was wet and rainy and gray, and today was clear and sunny, so definitely a juxtaposition. But full pads, refs were out, and definitely an emphasis on scrimmaging today.
Yeah, more scrimmage stuff than I thought we were going to see. They did a couple of different periods. They're still not tackling to the ground yet, but some good hits. I will say that's the offensive. The quarterback, running backs, wide receivers knew it was close to being live because they were under a lot of pressure, and still, Clay thought they made some plays, and they did make some plays. There was a lot of scrambling. I think one of the advantages with the two quarterbacks that are going at it is they're both kind of natural scramblers. And, we were kidding once. It's the basic drill is catch the high snap, take a quick look, and then take off. And Clay liked that because he wanted to see him, he likes to use the live bullets, but the defense was coming after him.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting, though, because we, as a press, kind of thought that the quarterbacks left a little to be desired. I think it could have been a better day for the quarterbacks, but hearing from Clay Helton, he said it was a good day for the quarterbacks. So we kind of have a difference of opinions there as far as quarterback evaluation today.
Well, I think and they did a lot of goal line at the other end of the field, and I think they really picked it up from the time that they were kind of out in the middle of the field and were having trouble corralling the ball and things like that, or maybe throwing an interception where somebody slipped. But once they got down at the other end, I think they did make some plays. They're so far away. I mean, it's like we're saying, who caught that? Could you see? Did they score? Did they not? And they just stayed there. And this is a team that didn't do a lot of goal line stuff last year. So I think that's a real plus. And the quarterbacks had to scramble, and they did scramble, and made some plays. I mean, for example, today, I think the best practice day in history for Josh Amato, baby. And no question, it's not even close, probably. He's starting to look like a different guy. He got a chance because Michael Pittman has an AC sprain, same shoulder, so they wanted to be safe. He got X-rayed negative, but that got Josh on the field right away, and I thought he had a terrific day.
Yeah, Josh got first-team reps throughout the day. He also got second-team reps, so he's definitely used at that position. He definitely took the most of his opportunity. How do you think he did? You said it pretty much, but he did a great job today.
What he showed me was the ability to be explosive after the catch, and I don't know that we've seen that. And then Clay has, talked about he's so much more into the playbook, and really, there's not that hesitation that comes with being a little bit uncertain and all of that. But I don't think we've seen him just be as assertive as he was today. I mean, and I don't think the defense was expecting it on a couple of those, swing passes, and he just took off. And he's a big, strong kid. So if he would, take that kind of step up, that's a real plus. I thought that was a very good thing that happened today.
Mm-hmm. On the defensive side of the ball, it looked like Clancy Pendergast was kind of saving the veteran guys, testing more of the younger guys. We saw a lot of Kana'i Mauga, Talanoa Hufanga. Those two guys seem to be standing out already in spring.
Yeah, and I think Clay mentioned Juliano Falaniko. They're really working to get those guys up to Levi Jones. They're really working to get those guys up to speed. And you can't have too many. I mean, they got a lot of athletes playing defense right now, and they will come after you. Ask him about Talanoa, and I said, what do you see? What do you think when you see what he's doing? And he just said, wow. Now, again, he's at a position where you say, well, can he get on the field in the fall? And Clay says, well, there's a lot of guys, and he ticks off about 7 or 8 names. But he does not look like a freshman. He just looks like he's a special player. I think they are very fortunate to have him, and fortunate that he's here in the spring. But he's a tough. That's a great. That's the kind of recruits. If you're USC, it must drive the Pac-12 crazy. So he's the best player in Oregon. Some scouting system said him as the #1 athlete in the country, and he's out of Corvallis in Oregon State. That would drive you crazy because players like that don't come along the whole state of Oregon that much. And to have him here at USC, again, it's a sort of an example of USC's ability to do things like that probably nobody else can go in and get a kid like that.
Mm-hmm. You already mentioned Michael Pittman. As far as injuries go, Helton said it was lucky that it was only an AC sprain because of that collarbone that Michael Pittman broke a couple of years ago. And then as far as Marlon Tuipulotu, Helton said he will be ready for fall camp, which is a good thing. We also saw Stephen Carr today. He seemed to be moving well as far as someone who had back surgery a month ago. And then there's another guy who he mentioned that I'm forgetting. Vavae Malepeai will be returning next week. They're going to evaluate him on Monday, see if he can do some teamwork. So hopefully he'll be back in the mix as far as running backs go.
Yeah, and that's given Cedric the ability to have another good day, a big day, and he does look like a 215-pound running back with really good quickness. So this may be, his opportunity. Although I'm hearing that Stephen has been trying to convince them, Stephen Carr, that he's ready to go. I don't think they're going for it at all. But when he walks by, you don't have any sense of, oh wait, this kid just had surgery 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're hearing he's definitely trying to, is there any way I can get back out on the field? And I'm good to go. So you like to see that, but you wouldn't think he's injured.
Yeah, but given USC's injury history, especially with the whole Porter Gustin, how they handle that, I don't feel like that would be a good idea to bring him back.
Not even a little bit. No. And you got 15 practices in the spring. You got 25 more in the fall, and he got plenty of decent amount of work last year. But they could be in a pretty good situation. And Clay talked about maybe a little bit different look because we asked him about seeing Sam under the center at Pro Day and doing a lot of play action, fake run, rollouts, that kind of thing. And Clay said, interesting you asked that because that's what we did some today. And he said, we're going to be more of a run team. So to run play action off the run, especially when you've got quarterbacks that are quick enough that can get outside, and they can take off either, and throw on the run. I think maybe what they saw Wednesday had a little bit of an effect because, you're starting to see the quarterback's under the center, and you're starting to see some play action. I think that's a really good thing.
Mm-hmm. We are kind of seeing throughout spring camp, I know it's only 6 practices, some snap, handoff issues, pitch issues. Is that a point of the camp where it's concerning at this point?
I think it's semi-concerning. We tried to get Clay to say something like that, but he wasn't about to go there. But you really don't, if you got new quarterbacks, you don't want them to have to catch one, on their shins, and the next one they got to jump up because it does disrupt the timing. And if you're going to be a more run-heavy team, you can't afford, the disruption that causes handoffs and blocking and all that. Although as we talked, we said, well, maybe that one play where the snap is really high and the quarterback has to go up and the defense thinks, the play, and then run it like it's a quarterback draw. And and they did it once today with Jack Sears, and he took off, and he's got, with that acceleration, he can fly. And he reacted so well and so quickly that the defense kind of, because the ball goes like that and you got to go way up in the air to get it, the defense is kind of like, okay, now what's going to happen? If you take off, you might be able to beat them to the spot. So I'm not recommending that as a part of the offense, but it can work at times. But I would like to see most of the snaps right where they don't have to reach for them.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that Tolo Bendon, the experienced center, as far as centers go, as far as centers depth go at this point, is not snapping. So that's also where the issues stem from. But 6 practice in, this is the second full practice of spring. Can you evaluate where this team is at right now?
I think this is a team that's got a lot of talent on defense and a lot of ability. And I think the playmakers, I think Clay made the right call today where the playmakers made some plays today, and that's really important on offense. But I think this is a team that you want to go into, those first couple of road games and with the feeling that this defense will be good enough to win this game. You don't turn the ball over. Don't commit a bunch of dumb penalties. you'll get guys that you'll be able to make enough plays. But you want to have that defense, and I probably say this 1,000 times. You want to be that young team that USC was in 2003 when Carson Palmer had left and Troy Pola-Mao who had left, and nobody knew who the quarterback was going to be. Some guy named Matt Leinart, and they didn't give him the whole playbook. And here they go opening at Auburn, a team that some people thought could win the national championship, and they go in and they shut Auburn out. And they basically didn't allow Auburn, with a whole bunch of guys that ended up in the NFL, they didn't let them get across the 50. That's how you win those kinds of games. And that's if you said what's the model you want to see with this team, you want to see it to be that team, which means they can't have any busts in coverage, for example, and give up the big plays and that. But I think they've got the athletes. Clay is thrilled to death that Brandon Peely has established himself at nose tackle, which he has. I'm not even sure, with everybody that's the way they're playing, it's going to be interesting when Marlon comes back. Yeah. Where do they put him? Yeah. And they're just going to maybe rotate. And those are what, some of the really good teams in college football can do, is they can just really rotate very good personnel, like Ohio State did on defense against USC. So that would be what you're seeing start to develop here. Cause got a lot of depth. They got more linebackers and safeties and secondary guys than we've seen in a long, long time. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But defense looks like they want to not let the offense play. Mm-hmm. And if you can go in somebody else's stadium and not let their offense play, you've got a good chance to come out a winner.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting indeed. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week of spring practice. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.